Alright, so here we are. These are the Zeal 12 pieces switch tester set. And, alright, when you're online, you honestly think that 62 grams, 65 grams, 67 grams, and I mean, obviously this one would seem different. But you would think that 62, 65, 67 all feel about the same. And they actually don't. That's actually a pretty big difference. So I'm going to go through all of them real quick, and hopefully you can get an accurate sound test and feel, or try to basically get like a good feel based off the sound. So here's the Zealios beginning. Now the Zealio 65 gram. Now the Zealio 67 gram. And now the Zealio 78 grams. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Xylants, beginning with the Xylant 62 grams. Okay, now the Xylants 65 grams. Now Xylant 67 grams. Now Xylant 78 grams. Alright, now onto the Telios. These are linears, non-silence. Helios are just silenced Telios, so they're silent linears. And now the Securios, 62 gram silent linears. And now the Roselios, 67 gram silent linears. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna run through them really quick, just tapping them really fast and loud. Alright, so real quick, I'm just gonna give you my opinion on this. So the combination I'm looking at setting up for my keyboard will be a combination of some silent linears, or linears and then tactile for regular keys. But I'm looking at Securios for my WASD keys. Then for the Helios, I'm going to use as the control and shift, because you usually use those in like Call of Duty and stuff. And then I like the Xylent 65 grams. So basically in an office environment, this is what it sounds like when you play if you have a broadcaster mic, or if you use like a Blue Yeti or something, then you know how ridiculously loud keyboard could be. And honestly, nobody is going to tell me, or none of my friends or anybody will really comment and say, hey, your keyboard's loud. Personally, I just don't like it because it could be obnoxious. Maybe one day you just get annoyed by it. I know that if I want to bring my keyboard with me to and from an office, maybe it'll bother somebody one day, but I don't know. It depends. Most likely nobody will ever comment on it, but if that's something that bothers you, then go for the silenced. If you don't care, these non-silenced aren't that loud. So even if you were to choose Helios linears for gaming keys, and then Zealios for the regular typing keys, this wouldn't be that bad. So like, listen. It sounds like a bit of a combination of those two. At your house, yeah, most likely you guys are just going to use this at house. Depends on what you do. Okay, so this I think would be a great combination for me right now. Securios, and then when you usually press WASD, you run around sprint. This would sound like in games and stuff. And then the typing keys, I like the 65 gram Xylents. These feel too light, so 62G. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but when you push down, you feel like you have to like let go and actually pull your hand up more to pull it up. Feels a bit too light. 65 grams, I feel like when I pull back on my finger, it rises easier. The spring is strong enough to just push my finger up. 67 grams, obviously that's better in what I said. The spring is strong enough to just push it back up. And then these obviously are good at what I'm saying. But this, I know if I use this all day, would stress my hands, and I don't want that. This, depending on how these switches are after they're lubed. So I know people say that you have to be careful if you lube the stem on tactile switches, and it can cause it to lose tactility, or if you put too much of a thick lube, then it will cause the spring not to return and it gets like stuck and mushy. So you have to be careful on these lighter switches like the 62 grams. But in general, for the 65, I think it will be better if I can, after lubing them with thicker lube and filming them like I want to do and lubing the springs, if I can maintain the 65 gram, that would be like my Goldilocks happy medium. And these don't feel as light as this, and they don't feel as stressful as these. And if I can maintain this, it's a nice balance build. So I really like these. But if the thicker lube and I get that mushy issue where it starts getting stuck, then, and if it feels like these, then I'm probably gonna have to go with these. I know I've seen some of like Brandon Taylor's videos, and I know Optimum Tech, he uses these for his main custom board. And then I think Bad Seed Tech uses, his favorite switches are Xylent 67Gs. Maybe their opinions have changed or since their recent videos, but based off Brandon Taylor's video where he's talking about like his favorite switches and stuff, and then his weights, and I know Optimum's video is recent, and then Bad Seed Tech, I'm still waiting on his Dygma Raise video. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a switch tester, and it's cool. You got all these different colors for these switches. It's really nice. Unfortunately, Zeal switches are expensive, but people say that they are the smoothest, and after modding them, they should be the best. And I think these are the end game switches. So thank you, and have a great day. All right, bye. Really quick, I know somebody asked, can you use Zeal switches in the Raise, without clipping, the PCB mounts? So one second, I'm just gonna take out one of them. push on it like that, pops out. This is just a regular Telio switch, and it comes with a little ABS keycap. So we're gonna pull out one of these. Alright, so 1 second. See if this can come out. Right there. Little keycaps off. That's out. And now gently put it on both edges. Alright, it's clipped on. Alright, cool. And now pull this out. Just like that. Yeah, I don't even really need that. So as you can see, let's see if I can zoom in. Those are the 2 prongs, and then you can see the little stem and the PCB mount. And on these, you can see how there is no PCB mount. It's like a 5 prong. So basically, when you try to insert these in the Raise, I know on the Massdrop Alt, you don't have those 2 holes. So if you did actually want to upgrade to Zeal switches, you would actually have to cut off with like nail clippers, or if you want to get something special. But yeah, you can just use nail clippers. You don't need like an X-Acto knife, but you'd have to cut off those stems, which leads to more instability and like rattle with the switch. They're really, is it going to be drastic? No, not really. You're not going to notice it. But some people, obviously, who have clipped and not clipped them, you'll be able to notice a difference. Anyway, I'm grateful that you don't have to do that. Anyway, so we're going to just take this, make sure the little pins line up properly. You should probably do this without putting the keycaps on, but I've done this like a few times. So yeah, that's really all it is. So when people say I'm not gonna buy a hot swap keyboard, you're gonna spend like 2 or 3 times. I've had a ton of keyboards, but I don't know if I'd recommend just buying Zeal switches from the get-go. I feel like that'd be super weird, because you'd probably just have the best, and then you wouldn't really have a good comparison of Clio, Gatorons. I haven't even tried Gatoron switches. I've only tried Gatoron opticals. So if you want to save money, then get Gatorons and mod them. Those are really good value. The Novel Cream switches, those are really nice, but Novel Key creams. But I heard that the smoothness isn't as good as most of the Zeal switches, but the sound is nice. So you can improve the sound of Zeal switches by adding a little film, or like a TX switch film, and that should improve it. We'll see how this goes. I didn't really want to switch too many. I really just want to use linears for some gaming keys, and then maybe I'll even get rubber keycaps for the few gaming keys, and then I would have tactiles for the rest, because I really like when you type. I like that little satisfying. I like that little. It's nice, like when you open up in like an IDE, or if you're coding or you're like typing, it's satisfying. For games, I find it really annoying, so I just like it just being quick and linear. Otherwise, it's just unnecessary. I don't need that. All right, well, that's it. All right, there it works, and thank you. All right, bye bye.